If I were to say the word diabetes to you, you'd probably think that this ice cream in excess is contributing to my chances of developing the disease. Well, for the most part, you'd be correct, especially seeing as that in 2021, almost 1.2 million Australians were living with the disease. However, there are two different types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. Let's take a closer look at type 1 diabetes. Unlike type 2 diabetes, type 1 diabetes is not caused by lifestyle factors. Rather, it is an insulin deficiency caused by autoimmune destruction. An autoimmune disease is when the body mistakenly attacks the healthy cells alongside the dangerous cells, resulting in a misdirected and overactive immune system. Essentially, this means that insulin is unable to be produced as the body's own immune system has destroyed the beta cells within the pancreas that produce it, in turn leaving the body insulin deficient with a higher chance of developing hypoglycemia. Lab Cody, let's zoom in on the way this all works. Thanks, Cody. The main goal for all the processes in the body is to maintain homeostasis, which is an overall balanced internal environment. For example, if you were to get hot, you'd sweat, or if you were to get hungry, you'd eat, but then you'd stop eating. If you were to keep eating, you'd make yourself sick from all the food you've consumed. The same sort of thing happens with the food you've just consumed. I'm talking about the glucose negative feedback loop. This mechanism ensures that the body cells are equipped with enough energy to carry out their roles, but not too much energy in the form of glucose that the body enters shock. This process begins with the blood glucose level rising caused by eating food. The beta cells of the pancreas then respond by producing insulin, which allows the glucose to be taken from the bloodstream and moved into the body cells to be used as energy for metabolic processes. At the same time, the liver takes up glucose and converts it to a readily available glucose reserve called glycogen. The result of the glucose moving out of the bloodstream ultimately decreases the blood glucose level, returning the body to homeostasis. On the other hand, if you had forgotten to have breakfast or spent a full 3 hours in an anatomy lab, your body would respond differently. As there has been no sugar introduced into the body from food, the blood glucose level would decrease. This time, the alpha cells in the pancreas would respond by producing glucagon. Glucagon is a hormone that lets the liver know that the body requires glucose. The liver then responds by breaking down glycogen into glucose, which is that stored glucose reserve you got from the last time you ate food. This would then result in the blood glucose level rising, allowing the body to return to homeostasis. This is happening all day, every day, without you even knowing. But that's not necessarily the case for someone with type 1 diabetes. Let me show you what I mean. Type 1 diabetes significantly disrupts the negative feedback loop. This happens as the autoimmune destruction of the beta cells results in either no insulin-producing cells or a significantly insufficient number of them. This then means there is not enough insulin to signal for the glucose to move from the bloodstream into the body cells, and the liver cannot respond by converting glucose into glycogen. As the body can then not lower the blood glucose levels, the negative feedback loop is broken, and there is a sustained level of high blood glucose levels, known as hyperglycemia. On the other hand, without the beta cells, the alpha cells lose communication, meaning they are unable to properly detect hypoglycemia and then fail to release enough glucagon to let the liver know to break down glycogen into glucose. This then means that the body remains in a state of low blood glucose levels known as hypoglycemia. Hey guys, it's one of the beta cells from the pancreas here. I'm not sure what's going on. I think the immune system is attacking me. I'm gonna take cover! Type 1 diabetes is typically diagnosed in childhood to early adolescence. This is understandable as in 2021, around 13,200 children to young adults aged between 0 and 19 years old were living with the disease. The diagnosis begins when specific signs present themselves. These are the 4 T's: thirsty, tired, toilet, and thinning. Essentially, if your child is drinking and urinating more frequently, as well as being more tired and losing weight, it's time to go see a doctor. Other symptoms of type 1 diabetes include always feeling hungry, dizziness, leg cramps, headaches, and cuts that heal slower than usual. Just under half of Australians had one or more chronic conditions in 2017 to 2018. The Australian Bureau of Statistics defines chronic conditions as a subset of long-term health conditions that are common, pose significant health problems, and have been a focus of ongoing public health surveillance. Type 1 diabetes made up 0.6% of this number at 144,800 people. In 2022, diabetes was the 5th most prevalent chronic condition at 5.3%. Now that we have looked at the severity of the disease, it is crucial to look at the way in which it's managed. Currently, there is no cure for type 1 diabetes, only management. This is insulin therapy via injections or a pump. There are different types of insulin, based on how fast it works, such as short-acting, long-acting, or mixed, and where it's derived from, such as bovine from a cow's pancreas, porcine from a pig's pancreas, and human, which is a genetically modified section of human DNA to reproduce synthetic insulin via human genetics. Human insulin is now the most common form of insulin used, as it allows a wider variety of individuals to use it, such as people from different religious backgrounds and people who are unsure of the purity of animal-based insulins. Correct management of type 1 diabetes is imperative to sustain good quality and length of life. This is because if not treated properly, the increased stress that the disease puts on the body's blood vessels from sustained high blood glucose levels can eventually lead to heart disease. This is extremely dangerous as ischemic heart disease has been the leading killer in Australia since 2014. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something about type 1 diabetes.